A lot of my listeners and clients have narcissistic people in their lives who they cannot escape. Usually a family member or a boss at a job they either can't or don't want to quit. Someone who looms large in their life, and going no contact is not an option. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about 3 tips for dealing with that narcissist in your life: how to cope, how to stay sane, how to do it at all. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Waking Up from Narc Abuse, a micro podcast by Alana Sanborn. This is a micro podcast. It's meant to start your thoughts flowing. It's meant to be the beginning of a conversation, a dialogue, not a monologue. Because we're talking about something that's pretty heavy, my hope is that shorter episodes that are easier to digest will help you without overwhelming you. And here is today's show. When you have someone in your life that is incredibly narcissistic and also incredibly unavoidable, it's a conundrum. I feel for you. I really do. So what do you do then? How do you deal with it? Lots of people deal in different ways. First of all, I strongly encourage you to minimize your exposure to them as much as possible, if it's possible at all. And sometimes it's really not. I get that. I do not blame or shame if you can't extract yourself from this dynamic in some way, if it's in some way really out of your control. So, first tip, lower your exposure. Just make it as infrequent as possible. If it's seeing your in-laws on the holidays, maybe you can work out a schedule where that's an every other year event. And so you get a year off. Or same example, if it's a family issue, someone in your family, and we often feel obligated to see our families, or we want to see our families during certain holidays, maybe you can just limit the amount of time you're there. And this brings up my sort of second part of my first tip, which is that I encourage people to use any and all excuses that they can to lower their exposure, to decrease their exposure to a narcissistic person. We are not above that, people. We are not above using our children as an excuse, using our work as an excuse, using the weather as an excuse, anything that you know that you can say that will make you feel like either you'll get less of an argument from someone or you'll feel better about it. You won't have to be brutally honest and then potentially have some kind of huge conflict. Anything you can use as an excuse to decrease your time and your exposure with this person, use it. So if I have a client who has young children, I definitely encourage them to say the kids need a nap. Gotta go. Kids need a nap. Or if you have the kind of job that's pretty involved, use your work as an excuse to shorten events or not even schedule the event in the first place. You know, you've got a meeting, you have to go, you have work stuff to do. Anything you need to use it. You don't have to be honest. Often it's not safe to be honest. It's not safe to open your up to either that kind of vulnerability or that kind of vitriol. So don't do it. Use whatever excuse you need. Tip number 1, it's combination. Lower your exposure to the person and use whatever you need to use as an excuse to decrease your time with and around them. Okay. Tip number 2, this is what I call bookends. If you know you have to have contact with someone who's narcissistic, who really triggers you, let's say it's a boss or a coworker, a colleague, and you have a meeting with them or a phone call, some kind of interaction coming up. Make a plan. Bookend that appointment with things that soothe you, distract you, or make you feel better or safer. For example, maybe you want to listen to some soothing music before that call. Maybe you want to watch some really, really adorable kitten or sloth videos for like 10 minutes before you have to go into that meeting. And after the meeting, You have lined up someone to message or call who understands your experience and will support you. And they know the call is coming. So this is planned coping, folks. You know something's going to be hard, so you plan for how you're going to deal with it before and after. And if it's something that's super triggering, you may need to have bigger, wider, longer bookends. You may need to have like a day before of like eating ice cream in bed and a day after of watching your most beloved reruns. And if you're not as slothful as that, perhaps your coping is going on a jog or taking extra time at the gym or being out in nature. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we want to take care of ourselves here. But the important thing is that it acknowledges that your nervous system is activated and that you are really making an effort to take care of yourself. Your body, your nervous system, your brain, your spirit, they all need to know that you notice that they're having a hard time, and the effort you put into responding to that activation means something. It means something. It tells your nervous system. It tells your spirit. It tells whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different ways we can phrase this, but it tells yourself that you can take care of you, that you can make you feel safe, that you are capable of being there for yourself. That is huge. Don't knock that till you try it. Tip number 3 has a little overlap with tip number 2. I want you to find some real live support. So let's say you have a disaster of a grandfather. He is just the fucking worst. He is racist. He's misogynist. He puts you down in front of your siblings. He just makes you feel like crap, right? Gaslights you, whatever it is. He's horrible. So I want you to find at least one person who gets it, who you can tell the truth to, who you can vent to, who you can sob to, whatever you need to do. You can talk to a coach, a professional. You can talk to a forum of people who understand narcissistic abuse. You can talk to one friend, a spouse, but find real people who understand. And not just people who will be like, yeah, I have kind of an asshole uncle too, but people who get it. People who know this is strategic, emotional abuse. People who know that this is on purpose, hurtful behavior from someone who's supposed to love you and be your family, or someone who's supposed to look out for you, or whatever it is. It's always hurtful. Yeah, tip number 3 is get some support. Find those people who understand, or find a person to talk to who can talk you through it, listen, share their own experiences, their own tips for how they deal. Really don't want you to be alone with this. Obviously, I'm also here. I do accept new clients. I am working with people all the time who need to come down from experiences that are triggering with folks in their lives. And we do a lot of troubleshooting around how they can better take care of themselves, ways to decrease their contact, ways to gray rock, etc. You really need some live people who get it in your life. So those are the 3 tips I have for you today. Number 1, disengage as much as possible and use anything you want as an excuse. You don't have to tell the truth. Number 2, bookend your experiences with soothing or coping things that make you feel better. Plan for those bookends. Put them in your calendar. Okay? Number 3, find your people and be honest with them frequently. Use their support. Lean on them. Do it. Okay, that's what we got today. Good luck out there, people. And as always, take care of yourself.